People don't talk about a $5 trillion highway. A new group post is up. Let's talk about it and look it over. I got this clip in the middle of the Chris Larsson talks. What Phil Quack said. Meikle told us about CME. Getting CME to be talked about by Brad Garlinghouse. Ripple Van Winkle told us some new things about BlackRock C. They are now in charge of $10 trillion. I found out more about It Gets Spooky near the end. There will be a movie made that only talks about XRP. Let's begin, everyone. This is from Satoshi's Scoop. Let's love them. Let's go with them. I want to help all of these sites as much as I can. No one talks about the $5 trillion highway. Most people think of payments when they hear the word XRP. But the real game is a corridor that moves $5 trillion a year, and Ripple is already a part of it. They don't want you to see this secret. They are only showing this small picture. The overlooked passageway is a way for banks to move money between Asia-Pacific, the Middle East, and Europe. The world's settlements depend on the flow of over $5 trillion a year through this corridor. The rest of the world is fighting over cases, but Ripple has already built the tracks that will connect them behind the scenes. Why does this matter? Funds like SWIFT and Nostro Vostro are still used by banks. It takes too long, costs too much, and is old. Bet on Ripple is to replace pre-funded with on-demand funding based on XRP. This quarter is when the test went live. Inflation and other problems make the prices of different countries' currencies go up. This means that there could be between $20 and $27 trillion locked up around the world in Nostro Vostro. That money isn't useful anymore. It's not being used in the best way possible. Do you ever look over as you drive down the street and see what look like brand new skyscrapers, and in the middle is a really old liquor store that's been there for 30 years? That's not the best way to use that land. When are they going to take that down and build something better there, like a park or a new building so people can use it? Our banks are also going through the same thing. You can see that SWIFT is a little faster now that you look around. It will happen today or tomorrow. A lot of those payments are, but it's still a very expensive deal. It would only take 3 to 5 seconds if we made that even faster, and the price would drop to $95. You could even bring it down to pennies if you really wanted to. These banks and other places will, of course, charge dollars to move that value. But you can get all that Nostro Vostro money and make doing business so much cheaper. I talk a lot about this on this show. Consider going in. What could the U.S. do with $5 or $10 trillion? Instead of letting that money sit in banks and do nothing, those banks could lend it to companies, people going to school, for home loans, car loans, or something else. The GDP and growth would go up, and users would get new services. This is what I see written on the wall. They won't say for sure that they're moving to HBR, Ripple, or XRP, though. They won't want to tell anyone for as long as they can. It's going to be this new method, and then they'll say, "Oh, that takes crypto. We meant to say that, but forgot. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't pay attention. This is the new way to do things. What the heck?" I asked myself, what the heck? I saw you 5 years ago. It's my job to pay attention. This is where I play. Let's see what happens. Please come back to this. Off track. A company called SBI Remit said it would use XRP as a way to send money between Japan and the Philippines. From 2021 on, Vietnam and Indonesia. Ripple bought a 40% stake in Trangolo and used it as proof of its size. On-demand funding went live in 25 quarters across Asia-Pacific in 2021. What about Thunas? Do you see him too? With Ripple's technology, Thun has been able to grow and get bigger. They've grown by 50%, 50%, and 50% every year, which is a big amount. They work with 90 different currencies and serve 130 countries. I'm going to quickly get this. I saw 90, so I don't want to quote wrong. I saw 80 different coins from 90 different countries. That is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. There are also 320 ways to pay that work with Ripple. Let's quickly go back to this. Thai's role as a calm country. Ripple and CM Commercial Bank tested the Japan-Thailand trade. Quarter a lot. The entry to the West was talked about by the IMF in FinTech news, but it was signed by Ripple in the EU and the UK. This let people share and receive euros and British pounds in real time. This made Ripple a way for people to trade with each other in both East and West. This news story about Finstra talks about how Ripple is working with Modular to improve the way people pay in the UK and Europe. It also says that states are on the way to Ripple. It's not just for banks. Coverage on CoinDesk, the MasterCard CBDC Partner Program, and the MasterCard blog, Bhutan's CBDC pilot, the start of Ripple, the Palau USD-backed stable coin. A lot of these projects are being done in smaller countries to show the World Bank, the EU, France, and the US that they work. This makes me think that many of them are tests for the bigger countries. They have jobs. We can mint, burn, and generally keep a closer eye on the supply than you do. Everywhere, people are curious about what the government does with all the tax money it gets. Maybe this will help people understand better and build trust in the government. It didn't sound good, and I don't think it will happen. What does it mean, Dick? Ripple was working on some of the fastest trade lines in the world, such as those in East Asia, Southeast Asia, trade finance, the UK, and more. Its cases were getting a lot of attention, and the EU. It worked on steady coins and CBDC too. The big picture. What looks like a way to send money back to family today hides the back doors to a $5 trillion trade flow. Swift was changed to Ripple. The trains were built so that no one could see them. Satoshi Scoop wrote a great post. Thanks a lot, buddy. Let's listen to this. Here's Cry. Arson being asked about the A place to keep money. It's already a change to think that it can be used to store value, right? A lot of people want to know what it's for. Okay? So that's it, right? Someone or something that is one of a kind can share value but not balloon in this world. When someone says, "What's that thing about money?" Why would you want it? Please don't joke around, because many people around the world care about it. We already know these things will play a bigger role in the world economy and are important in their own right. That's fine. Okay. Michel wants to talk about XRP. What if XRP ETFs become the most well-known thing ever? Come on, play. There are more people interested in the CME than Bitcoin right now. This market is probably the least like a store. There are more XRP than Ethereum and Solana. Friends, we are going to talk about a huge amount of money. We talked about the XRP ETFs that are coming out soon and are expected to bring in $8 billion to $9 billion. It doesn't surprise me if the XRP ETFs were some of the most popular ETFs ever, based on what we can see here from the CME. Guys, he's probably not wrong. He probably isn't wrong. I believe he is going in the right direction. There are XRP futures options worth 14 million. What is this with the smiley face and the swoosh? What does that mean? That might not be true, I think. Big bets are being made on